Westwood Studios' production of Lands of Lore, The Throne of Chaos.
I need this old 486 to work. Maybe if I kick it, maybe that'll do the trick. Come on, work, damn you. It's not gonna work. It never worked, even back in the day. Damn you. One more kick, just one more kick for good measure. Right, that's it, I give up. Whoa. This is more like it. Yeah. This is what I remember back in the old days. Good old days.
I have played a lot of video games over the years. I have played games from the 80s and beyond. And I have enjoyed and disliked many in equal measure. I love GTA. I loved Mass Effect. I love Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls, and Elden Ring is great. But as much as I appreciate these new games, my heart will always still be beating somewhere in the 90s. Back when I was a teenager, when the world was still this sort of bright and shiny thing. When video games were still new and interesting. They were still innovating. Throughout the decade, we saw video games change from 8-bit adventures with plumbers to hijinks in outer space and outer dimensions, FMV point-and-click, Dungeons and Dragons and open worlds. It was mad and it was wonderful. Yes, I remember it well. I used to get excited about games. I'll talk about those old days in other videos, but here right now, I'm going to talk about one game from my past in particular. That is Lands of Lore, The Throne of Chaos. This is the first in the trilogy that was originally planned to have 8 parts. It was developed by Westwood Studios, and later editions of the game would include the voice acting talent of Patrick Stewart himself. He portrayed the character of King Richard, and this addition to the cast brought a level of professionalism to the production. Lands of Lore was a grid-based RPG in the style of Eye of the Beholder, Captive, Wizardry, and the early Might and Magic games. Now, I love this style of game. One day, Lands of Lore fell into my hands. A good friend gave it to me. It wasn't his type of game and he didn't want it anymore. So I took it home, I installed it, and then I had the privilege of playing this very wonderful game. In the Throne of Chaos, you are tasked with a quest by King Richard to banish the evil witch Scotia, who has rallied the Dark Army and captured the magical ring known as the Nether Mask, that allows the wearer to change their shape. A bad business indeed. Up to you to stop it. You must choose your character. You have a choice of a warrior, a dracoid, a hewline, and then a jack of all trades. Once this deed is done, the quest begins with gusto. With the help of a few friends, chief among these, Bakara, the eternal Thomgog, you set out to find the Ruby of Truth, the only thing that has the power to reverse the power of the Nether Mask, and ultimately allow you to defeat Scotia. Along the way, you encounter a large array of monsters, and you will use a variety of weapons to stop them. You will also learn magic, and you could pick up objects and throw them at your enemies. You visit many locations along the way, including swamps, dark cities, and dark, evil, possessed mines beneath the ground. In the unholy depths of the Urbish mines, terrible horrors await the unwary traveller. Go armed, Go forth with bravery. You will need to be brave if you're going to survive this terrifying quest. You will also meet many strange people as well on the road, including the strange Gorka, a race of fearsome swamp dwellers who will slay any orc entering their territory. But it is up to you in the end, with your skill and your cunning and the bravery of your companions, to bring an end to the evil that has erupted upon the lands. These lands of lore. Now, the Westwood team were imaginative storytellers and have proven this many a time in many a game. I enjoyed the Magic Kingdom of Carindia, the point-and-click prelude to the Lands of Lore games. I also loved Guardians of Destiny, the vast and epic sequel to the Throne of Chaos. I think Guardians is my favorite in the series. I'll talk about that game one day. There are lots of wonderful videos out there on YouTube of the Westwood team discussing the development of Guardians, and you can see their passion for their work and for the story behind their fantasy creation. It's really nice to see. It's quite inspiring, in fact. I felt that with the Lands of Lore, Westwood had managed to craft a fantasy world full of character. I fell in love with it straight away. Honestly, the moment I popped the disc in, got the program up and running after the installation, and heard Patrick Stewart's voice, Lands of Lore, Thrones of Chaos. Oh yes, I was beyond hooked. The game was nice to look at as well, especially when compared to Ancients, where everything looked the same wherever you turned. The artwork in the game was beautiful. They created such a lovely, rich world. Such a talented team. That's Westwood for you. The music as well. The music was beautiful. Especially the music for the Gladstone Forest. I'd sometimes just stand there and listen to it. I love listening to it now. All the characters had great animations and lovely voice work. And when a new item appeared on your screen, be it a compass or a scroll, there was a wonderful animation to accompany its appearance. I appreciated the effort Westwood put into their product. Apparently, so I read, Lands of Lore was going to be the next Eye of the Beholder game. That was the original plan. But Westwood lost the right to the franchise at the last minute and so transformed their work into a brand new series. Eye of the Beholder became Lands of Lore. But unfortunately, Lands of Lore did come to an end, and darn it, I wish they could have carried on with their work. The series ended 3 games in. And that was it was over. Sad times indeed for fans like me. I would have loved to have seen more from this world, from the Lands of Lore. I felt like the world Westwood had created had more stories to tell. So much potential. Now gone. Over into the waves of time and lost thought, alas. Throne of Chaos can be found on GOG and is still very playable, very user-friendly. I feel that it was designed for newcomers into RPG games. It's easy, it's light-hearted, it's easy to get a hang of the controls and what you're doing. It's not too complicated. You can get your head around the stats, and building up your character is quite easy. I look at it as an RPG light. It's more for casual gamers. I wish there was more to see in the Lands of Lore. More lore to explore. More characters to travel with. But at least we still have this game to enjoy. Lands of Lore, Throne of Chaos. One of my personal favourite series of games. I still play it today. There's other great RPGs out there, the list goes on. I mean, I loved Morrowind, Baldur's Gate, Arx Fatalis. It's a big list, so I will stop there. But the lands, they will always stay with me. God bless you all, to those who watch this, and enjoy playing games.
You